Hey guys, this is Ada coming in to do a video. I really want to share with you guys my story on what stopped my heavy cycles. Um, guys, let me tell you. Um, I'm gonna say about 4 years ago, I had to have an over removed due to cysts. And I may have shared this story before in one of the earlier videos, but forgive me. But I just can't emphasize enough. Okay, during that time that I had the over removed, but due to cysts, I was working and I really didn't have time to stay at home and really take care of myself. And the job that I was working was very stressful. And even though I was doing some natural things, I couldn't completely do what I needed to go ahead and try to get that cyst shrink. And because of the fact that I was in pain, so I just went on and opted for the surgery. And then they didn't know, they thought it may have been something else going on too, so that was another reason. But if I had to do it all over again, I definitely would have done things differently. So this is my story about what I did. Okay, about, I say 2 years ago, guys, I started getting really heavy cycles. Actually it's been about three. Yeah, about three. And I never had a heavy cycle in my life. And so I guess I was about around 51 when they started, maybe 50. And that was after the ovary removed. And man, I mean, I would sit down, I'd be at work, and all of a sudden it was like the floodgates. And I had never ever experienced anything like that before. And I mean, it did that for a few days. And so I end up at home in July of 19. And of course the heavy cycles continue, and I wasn't cognizant, guys, thinking that my iron was getting low. I just thought I was eating right. I really thought I was doing what I needed to do to not get depleted, but I wasn't, because for one, I was doing plant-based most of the time, and I really wasn't eating any meats, or I really wasn't taking B12 and any of that stuff. So I end up, developing heart palpitations and a lot of different stuff, not realizing that my iron was low. And so, long story short, those cycles continued. I took the black strap, which probably kept me afloat, because if I wouldn't have been taking that or increased it or started taking it, ain't no telling what would have happened. But anyway, I did that. But meanwhile, my body was just trying to, it was starting to go through perimenopause, and for two, it was trying to regulate those hormones. And then all these heavy cycles was just, it was horrible. But as doing my research, I realized that I probably had not enough progesterone. Not that I was estrogen dominant, I just didn't have enough progesterone. And so in doing my research, guys, way on the other side of all of that, I did a lot of things with supplementation and diet and exercise and all that. But then I learned that if you're having really heavy cycles, you may be low on progesterone. Now, guys, I'm not a medical expert, not a doctor, not a nutritionist, just a person telling you my story. So that's the disclaimer. I cannot give medical advice. But anyway, long story short, I started using the progesterone, and I noticed my breasts started getting a little heavier or whatever. But as I kept using it, it cut down on my cycles. And so, it took a while, because what I've learned during my research, especially for women who are in perimenopause or maybe in menopause, it starts to protect your internal organs first before it start to work on like your ovaries and regulate things to do with your reproductive cycle. It goes to where it needs to go first, and then it starts to regulate your cycle. But needless to say, it regulated my cycle to the point where, it cut it way back. And then, I was having one every now and again. So you really don't have to suffer. The best thing to do is maybe go to your doctor and have your levels checked, have your hormones checked, especially your progesterone, estrogen, and stuff like that. and see what's going on. Because a lot of times some people will do an IUD with progesterone, and that'll help cut back. Some women use a bioidentical progesterone, the cream. This is what I use, and I have another one here that I started on, because this one is this is empty, that I'm using now by now. But now on the other side of peri, and I'm headed into menopause, and I'm thinking that, right now I'm at the point of no return. I also end up adding a little estrogen with this, because as you go farther into menopause, from peri to menopause, your estrogen levels begin to fluctuate as well and drop lower, which can cause some other, issues. So I actually started adding estrogen, but initially it was just strictly the progesterone cream. And there is a formula for using it if you're still menstruating. I didn't follow the formula, guys. I just used it every day because I felt like I was extremely deficient. And I also learned that if you don't have enough progesterone, you may have a lot of anxiety. You may have a lot of nervousness, anxiety, lack of sleep. It can cause all kinds of symptoms, being low on progesterone. And I had all of them. No sleep, lack of sleep, just wasn't calm. But after I started using this, it's eliminated a lot of the anxiety. Severe anxiety, and I became calm, because this is very common. But like I said, there is a formula to follow when you menstruate, and you can look it up online, or you can talk to your doctor if it's something you choose to use. And like I said, I always run it by your physician. But progesterone cut those heavy cycles down, and eventually off. Of course, I'm 54 now, so last time I had a cycle, was when I was 53. I just turned 54, so I'm hoping that phase is over with, guys. So with that being said, if this video has been helpful, please like, share, subscribe. And just remember, there are alternatives to those heavy cycles other than a hysterectomy. There's nothing wrong with having one if that's what you choose to do. Everybody's body responds different. I just happen to think that I need my organs. I need this ovary. They're not there for nothing. Some people get them, and they do wonderful. But, who knows? Because I had an ovary removed, and it just threw me all off whack, guys. And, and I wasn't given hormones or anything. But, with that being said, you don't have to suffer like that. There are alternatives out there. So, you guys have a wonderful evening. And like I say, stay tuned for the next video.